Hello YouTube, it is your boy B3, back with another kicking graphic novel review. Today we're looking at Batman Gotham Knights Transference by Devin Grayson and Jin Van Meter. Let me read you the back of this book here. When a little boy in Gotham loses his parents to a horrible gun crime, Batman is forced to revisit the ghosts of his past. The dead begin to walk and talk. Psychological warfare is declared upon Batman by the sinister, manipulative Hugo Strange. A war in which Nightwing, Robin, and Oracle might be the true casualties. This book, collecting Batman Gotham Knights, numbers 1 through 12, explore the personal lives of not just Batman, but the family he surrounds himself with. Written by Devin K. Grayson from Catwoman, Nightwing, and Batman Chronicles, and masterfully illustrated by Roger Robinson from Azrael, Agent of the Bat, and Batgirl, and Dale Egglesman from Green Lantern, Justice Society of America, and this is a collection not to be missed. So, let's hop into it. I mostly read this for Hugo Strange. I reviewed an action figure of Hugo Strange, a Platinum Edition that McFarlane Toys made, that's allegedly from this story. Allegedly, because the Hugo Strange figure is wearing a different batsuit than the Hugo Strange in this book. It's still a good figure that I really like, and I'm glad to finally have a Hugo Strange in my collection, but it doesn't really look like the one from this book. Anyhow, I think Hugo Strange is a very underrated Batman villain. Makes me happy. The first story in this is about a kid whose parents are murdered. And it's about Batman's blind spot, which is these kids that have circumstances similar to his. And I honestly felt that it was a little obvious. I've actually read this story multiple times. I remember the first time I read it as a single issue. Now I have the collected edition. I sold my single issue. It's just... it's obvious the kid did it. You as the author kind of know the kid did it. Just the way the kid's behaving and the way the Robins are behaving. It is the kid. And maybe it would have been more interesting to me personally if everyone thought the kid did it and it looked like Batman had a blind spot, but maybe he was the only one that was right about it. But maybe that would have also felt like a cop-out if that's actually what they did. But no, the kid murdered him. It just felt so obvious. Then we actually get into the Hugo Strange story, and all these comics are narrated with what seems like files, and you're meant to think the files are written by Hugo Strange, because he knows Batman's identity, and therefore all his associates' identities, and they're all written in a way that is from the point of view of someone who isn't Batman. But then, big spoiler again, at the end, it turns out the files that you're being shown as the reader, this narration, was all written by Batman, but from a weird POV that's not his own. He refers to himself in the third person. Why couldn't they have been Hugo Strange's files? Is it a big reveal that Batman wrote them and just wrote himself in third person? That's just weird, right? That's just weird. No, it would have made more sense if they were just Hugo Strange's files on everybody. Would have made him feel like more of a threat because he would have known more. But they are well written. They're good psychological deep dives of the characters in Batman's orbit. Also, this is about Batman and Cassandra Cain, Batgirl, saving a bunch of people from a ship. I love Cassandra Cain, Batgirl. I love her when she doesn't speak. I love her when she does speak. She's my favorite Batgirl. Also, that OG costume of hers of the sewn-up mouth is just sick. It's just actually super cool looking. And she's great mute representation. She's awesome. And probably the best hand-to-hand fighter in the DC universe. Everyone likes to say it's Batman, but Lady Shiva is definitely better than Batman. And then there's Richard Dragon, who everyone forgets exists. I'm just going to say it's Cassandra Cain. She's really cool. But it's kind of about She wants this death wish because she feels guilty for being raised to be an assassin. And Batman kind of helps her find a bit of a will to live, which is really nice. Quite like that, actually. Quite factually. Then, we move on. We see Batman stop a mugger. Pretty normal Batman stuff. But it seems like crimes are being made so that Batman can't stop them. Like, it's about Batman's guilt, and then there's this force that is possessing the bodies of people Batman failed to save. And then they're trying to kill Batman in those bodies. It's actually pretty interesting because it's this supernatural thing that you don't see too much in Batman stories, But it is pretty cool. It's a lot of guilt for Batman. A lot of guilt. But hey, what you gonna do, Batman? What you gonna do? But we continue on, and continue on. Anyway, after the ghost story with the unsatisfying ending, we get a story with the villain, the Key. A villain I never personally cared for. I've seen him in a couple things. I believe he was in JLA and the Justice League Unlimited cartoon. And he's also not interesting in this. He's not interesting in this. And we also get Azrael in this, in his least interesting costume. But it's basically just a comic about why Batman doesn't kill. And we all kind of get that. But it's not just because his parents were killed, it's also because of his father's philosophy as a doctor and his Hippocratic oath, turns out. Then we get a story about Oracle, which is the book, this is the comic that reveals Barbara Gordon is Jim Gordon's biological daughter and not just his adopted one, after his brother passed. And it's just, maybe this was huge when this book came out, but like going back and reading it retroactively after that's common knowledge is kind of ugh. But even the build-up is just like, she's hiding something in this book, and you kind of don't care about what she's hiding because, like, you just know it's not going to be that bad. Because she's Oracle, she's Barbara Gordon, and this isn't like a big story, it's just one issue devoted to her. So you know it's not going to be the craziest thing. And it isn't. Then there's a story about Alfred and Leslie and their relationship with Bruce. This was really interesting, and it shows that they probably would have ended up together if they weren't always caring for Bruce. That brought them closer, but ironically keeps them apart. It's actually very interesting. We also get one for Catwoman, and this is kind of where it starts to move closer to Hugo Strange. There's like this Catwoman imposter that Hugo Strange made, and he has kidnapped Catwoman and like drugged her and stuff. And it's not super interesting yet. It gets more interesting when Batman goes to his kind of company insurance mandated psych eval as Bruce Wayne, and Hugo Strange is the one doing it, and he has to basically pretend he's not Batman. Hugo Strange knows. Hugo Strange is just trying to really get him to admit it, to find some indisputable proof that he's Batman, so that he can really take it public. That's what he's trying to do. Most people that know Batman's identity don't want to take it public. They like having that card to themselves because it gives them an advantage. But Hugo Strange is just fully like, yeah, I'll out him. I just have to be able to definitively prove it. And it's pretty cool. Batman actually has to kind of fake his death, and it even has Nightwing kind of doubting a little that he is alive. But he is alive. Bruce Wayne eventually shows up, and he kind of... This Bruce Wayne doesn't know he's Batman. It's actually kind of lame. You see, later we find out, after Hugo Strange has kidnapped everyone, that Batman put himself in some kind of memory trance. It's actually really kind of stupid that he put himself in this memory trance where he repressed all the parts of himself that are Batman and made Nightwing and Robin, who's Tim Drake, best Robin, made them fight for him. And the reason he did that was to kind of trick Hugo Strange into thinking he's not Batman. And it does seem to work. And Hugo Strange even turns himself in for psychiatric help, which is actually pretty interesting that he does that. I really like Hugo Strange and seeing how he was written and everything. It was really cool. But also, whatever. Seeing Hugo Strange run around and do stuff was good, but the writing itself wasn't particularly grand. And then at the end, we get this story with Barbara Gordon as Oracle. And there's like this serial assaulter who's going around and like attacking and robbing and whatnot. Basically people who have been injured in workplace accidents and got settlements or got paid out or something. He's one of the people that had to pay out, and he thinks that these people who were given permanent disabilities because of these injuries don't deserve it. So Barbara Gordon like pretends to sue her own father's police department in order to trap him. Neat little story, not a big consequential story, but I actually think it's a really good Oracle story. It was neat. So this book altogether is kind of It's kind of it's not the best of Batman. This whole era of Batman is kind of to me, if not bad. Batman, it'll pick up, but I liked Hugo Strange in this book, and I liked the Alfred Leslie stuff. I liked that issue. But a lot of it is kind of whatever, or just flat out stupid. So that's it. If you want to see a decent Hugo Strange story, you can read this collected edition, but a lot of it is just kind of noise. So that's it. Thank you all very much for your support. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description below. Facebook, Twitter, etc. And I'll be seeing you all next time. Bye for now.